I don't know how many times I felt like I need to change my life. And most of the times I fall back. But a few times I have stick with it. And what is the difference about those few times that I stick to it compared to the others? The easiest way to do it is when I just need to tweak my story a little bit. And when I say story, I mean the stories I tell myself about who I am. And other times it's about changing your whole story. And when I'm changing the whole story, it's harder to make it stick because it's hard to change the whole story. But when I do it, it is sticking and it's easy. And that's true with this tweaking of story. When I tweak, it can be hard. It's not as hard as changing it. But when I have tweaked it, and it is a story that I do believe in and that is myself, it's so much easier. I'm going to give you an example so it's easier to follow. So the story, when I went from meat eater to vegan, it was a long process. And the process, I went from meat eater to a vegetarian to a vegan. And when I went from meat eater to a vegetarian, I was already as a vegetarian in my stories. And that same thing was when I went to vegan. I was already a vegan in my stories. And the story I had told myself before that I just needed to tweak is that life is important for me, and every people, I want to help them and support them, and I don't want to make any harm to them. And that thing I tweaked and made it so it's about all living beings. It was about both people and animals. So the first natural stage is that I don't want them to die. Therefore, I went to being a vegetarian because I don't want them to die. I don't want people to die for me to eat them, and I don't want animals to die for me to eat them. I want them to have a long, happy life. And then it was about hurting them when we are getting milk and cheese and everything that. For maybe some ways and some places it's okay, but most of the time we are using the animals and they are suffering through it. And I don't want them to suffer because of me. I just want them to be happy and glad and having a happy life. And therefore going vegan then became very easy because my story about who I am and what impact I am doing for people and animals is a happy one. I don't want them to suffer because of me, and I am not a person that they will suffer from. And therefore it was so easy when it comes to it, when I was ready. And I know that I have got asked if it was hard, and so the hardest thing was to find recipes and find new ways to cook things. But not wanting them or wanting to eat them or wanting to eat the products from them, that was easy because my story has changed. And I think that everything, if you are actually able to change your story about yourself, it will get easier to do real changes in your life.